I'm Jade. 28, fiery, and always a little too honest for my own good. People tend to mistake honesty for cruelty, but hey, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to live my truth, even if it ruffles a few feathers. Marcus? He was the guy everyone told me I should settle for. Tall, clean-cut, and ambitious. The kind of man with a smile that could charm the socks off anyone and a future so polished it gleamed under every fluorescent light. Sales executive at a big firm, always talking about his next promotion and financial goals. He had this way of making stability sound sexy, but to me, it felt suffocating. We met at a friend's barbecue in the middle of summer. The sun was melting into a red-orange haze, laughter buzzing all around, and there he was, standing by the grill like some ad for Mr. Responsible. I wasn't looking for a boyfriend. I wasn't even looking for a friend. But Marcus. Well, he had this way of talking that made you feel like the only person in the world. I fell fast, not the slow, dreamy kind of falling, but more like tripping over a crack in the sidewalk. 1 minute, I was laughing at his corny jokes, the next, I was spending weekends at his place, wearing his oversized shirts, pretending I liked kale salads and early morning runs. I told myself it was okay. Everyone's supposed to grow up eventually, right? But deep down, I knew I was craving something else, something unpredictable, messy, and electric. Marcus gave me safety. But safety gets boring after a while. At first, I tried to convince myself I was happy. Marcus was reliable, the kind of guy who'd call just to say good morning or remember my coffee order without messing it up. I liked those things. I thought maybe stability was what I wanted. But after a few months, the quiet moments between us started to feel deafening. He worked late a lot. Always with that polite smile and a tired nod when I asked about his day. I knew he was chasing promotions and making his numbers, but sometimes it felt like I was chasing something too, chasing the feeling I had when I wasn't watching the clock. That's when Blake came into the picture. Blake was nothing like Marcus. A bartender with ink running up his arms and a devil-may-care grin that lit up the darkest corners of every dive bar in town. Where Marcus was polished and safe, Blake was raw and wild, like the perfect storm you know you shouldn't get caught in but can't resist. I met Blake on one of those nights when Marcus was out late at some corporate dinner, probably talking about sales targets or team synergy. I was with my friends, looking to shake off the monotony, and there Blake was, sliding a tequila shot across the bar with a wink. 1 shot became 2. 2 became 3. Then suddenly, I was laughing harder than I had in months, the music pulsing through my veins like a secret promise that something was about to change. I knew Marcus would never understand this side of me. I could see it in his eyes whenever I got a little too loud or a little too reckless. He wanted neat. I wanted chaos. After that night at the bar, things got complicated. Not messy, that would be too obvious. Complicated in that slow, creeping way that makes you wonder how you didn't see it coming. Blake texted me the next day. Just a simple, "Hey, last night was fun," but something about that message set off a spark in me. I found myself looking forward to those texts, the quick bursts of excitement that pulled me out of my gray routine. I started lying to Marcus. Little things at first, I'm out with friends, working late, got caught up at the studio. The guilt wasn't there yet. I told myself I was just surviving, just getting a taste of the life I was missing. But then one afternoon, Blake showed up at my apartment. Just like that. No warning. No excuses. He was there, leaning against my kitchen counter with that crooked smile, and suddenly all the rules I thought I had melted away. We kissed. And not just a quick hello kiss. The kind that shakes you to your core, the kind that makes you forget your own name. For days after, I was a mess. Trying to keep Marcus and Blake separate in my mind, in my schedule. But secrets have a way of spiraling, don't they? And before I knew it, Marcus was asking questions. Why do you look tired? Who's Blake? Why won't you let me in? I brushed it off. Deflected. Promised it was nothing. But I wasn't fooling anyone, least of all myself. It wasn't like a scene from a movie. No shouting, no slammed doors. It was worse, cold, silent, like the air had been sucked out of the room. Marcus found out the way he always does these things. A message popped up on my phone, right there when he walked in early from work. Can't wait to see you again tonight, from Blake. I didn't hear him come in. Didn't turn around. I just felt the weight of his eyes burning holes in my back. Who's Blake? He asked, voice steady but low. I froze. I wanted to lie, to spin some excuse, blame the message on some friend, say anything to keep the chaos at bay. But I couldn't. Not this time. So I told him. I told him everything. The lies, the secret meetings, the way I felt alive with Blake but numb with him. He listened. Just listened. Not a word. Then he said, I'm done. And with that, he walked out. Marcus leaving that morning felt like the final punch in a fight I didn't even know I wanted to win. The door closing behind him was louder than any argument could have been. It wasn't just a sound, it was a declaration. A line drawn in the sand. He was done. Finished. And just like that, the life I'd been clinging to for months was ripped away. I should have felt devastated. Broken. Lost. But instead, a strange clarity settled over me, sharp and cold like ice sliding down my spine. He walked away, but I wasn't going to fall apart. No. I was furious. Furious that he could just erase me from his world like I was some bad habit he'd kicked. Furious that after everything, the years, the late-night talks, the promises, he chose silence over answers. He wanted to be the victim? Then he'd damn well be the villain in this story. I still had the spare key. He'd never asked for it back, which, honestly, was his first mistake. If you don't want someone holding access to your life, you don't leave the door unlocked. That morning, I waited. Watched the clock tick past 8, then 9. The apartment was silent except for the distant hum of city noise filtering through the windows. I could hear his car pull away, the familiar rumble fading down the street. I slipped inside. The place was too quiet. Too still. Our photos hung crooked on the walls, the scent of his cologne lingering like a ghost I couldn't shake. I ran my fingers over the counter, traced the rim of his favorite coffee mug, memories flooding in like a tidal wave. Then I saw it. The keys. Sitting on the kitchen table, shining in the morning light. The keys to his brand new car, the one he'd been bragging about for months. The sleek black beast he thought made him untouchable, invincible even. Something twisted in my gut. Not sadness. Not regret. Pure, unfiltered rage. This car wasn't just a possession. It was his symbol of victory. The shiny trophy he bought with every late night, every sacrifice. And if he could throw me away like I was nothing, then maybe I could show him what losing something looked like. I grabbed the keys, feeling their cold weight in my hand. I slipped on my jacket and headed out the door. Outside, the car gleamed under the sun, untouched and perfect like a mocking reminder of everything he had and everything I lost. I circled it slowly, adrenaline mixing with the bitter taste of betrayal. Each breath I took was heavy with anger, every heartbeat pounding like a war drum. I started with the windows, sharp, jagged cracks spreading like spiderwebs across the glass, shards sparkling dangerously on the asphalt. The sound was intoxicating, the crisp shatter, the tiny explosions of glass falling. I felt alive. Next, I took the key from my pocket. Not Marcus's keys, my own, twisted and sharp. I ran the metal against the glossy paint, etching angry lines that spelled out the words I couldn't say aloud: liar, fake, coward. The tires came next. I stomped and kicked, watching the rubber deflate with a satisfying hiss, imagining him pulling up and feeling the slow death of his precious ride. I popped open the gas tank and poured in sugar, a slow poison that would cost him weeks of repairs and headaches. Not enough to ruin the engine completely, but enough to send a message. Every act was a scream. A way to make him feel the chaos he left behind. The morning light felt different after the car. The sunlight cutting through the blinds wasn't warm, it was harsh, accusatory. The kind of brightness that makes you face what you've done, no matter how much you want to look away. My phone started buzzing the second I opened my eyes. Calls from unknown numbers, texts from friends I hadn't spoken to in days, and a slew of notifications that made my stomach knot tighter with every beep. But nothing prepared me for the voicemail. The police. 2 days ago, I was filled with rage, ready to burn bridges and take names. Now, I was sitting on my couch, heart pounding, staring at my phone, trying to breathe through the panic rising in my chest. Property damage. Vandalism. Criminal charges. The words were loud in my ears, like a slow, relentless drumbeat that wouldn't stop. I kept telling myself, it was just a car. Material things can be fixed. People can't. But the deeper truth was that this mess wasn't about the car. It was about everything else, the betrayal, the silence, the years of being invisible. The job interview, the one I'd prepared for obsessively, the one that could have been my ticket out, felt like a distant dream now. I knew those police reports and court dates would follow me there like a shadow, dimming any chance I had. Friends? They'd started slipping away too, like sand through my fingers. At first, it was subtle, shorter replies, unanswered texts, cancelled plans. Then, the whispers started. She lost control, one said. That's not how you handle things, another murmured behind my back. I was suddenly the cautionary tale. The reckless ex-girlfriend who destroyed everything instead of fixing it. The one who couldn't keep her emotions in check. But what about Marcus? The guy who walked away without a word? Who blocked me out like I'd never existed? Where was his reckoning? No one wanted to talk about that. I felt trapped between the pieces of my shattered life. On one side, the cold, unforgiving justice system. On the other, the silence of people who used to call themselves friends. And yet, through all the fear and anger, a stubborn part of me refused to give in. I still had that fire burning inside, raw, wild, and fiercely alive. I wasn't going to let this be the end of my story. So, here I am, the villain in everyone's story. The crazy ex who couldn't keep it together, who cheated and wrecked the car, who lost the job opportunity and burned bridges left and right. Yeah, I'm the headline everyone loves to gossip about. The cautionary tale whispered behind closed doors. But you want to know the truth? I don't regret a damn thing. I don't regret breaking down the walls I built around my own happiness just to fit into Marcus's neat little box of what a relationship should be. I don't regret choosing chaos over comfort when comfort was just another word for being invisible. For years, I tried to silence the parts of me that screamed for something more: passion, excitement, unpredictability. I told myself that stability was love, that loyalty meant never rocking the boat. But all it gave me was quiet desperation and loneliness wrapped up in routine. Marcus was never the villain. He was just the wrong person for me. A symbol of everything I thought I wanted but didn't actually need. Cheating? Yeah, that was my fault. No excuses. But it wasn't just about betrayal. It was about reclaiming a piece of myself I'd lost in the shadows of a relationship that suffocated more than it supported. And wrecking that car? That wasn't just revenge, spite, or madness. It was a message. To him, to myself, to anyone who thinks you can erase someone and walk away without consequences. When you break someone's heart, you have to be ready to feel the fallout, the anger, the chaos, the destruction. Because love isn't neat and tidy. It's messy, wild, and sometimes it burns. The court dates, the legal battles, the job interview I missed, they're all real, and yeah, they hurt. But they're nothing compared to what I'd lose if I stayed silent, if I kept pretending everything was fine. I'm paying a price, sure. But I'm still standing. Still fighting. Still me, unapologetic, imperfect, and alive. Maybe Marcus moved on easily, found peace and calm in someone new. Good for him. Maybe the world thinks I'm reckless or selfish. That's fine, too. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the one who lost me. I'm not the one who let love turn into a cage. And if being real means being the villain in someone else's story, then so be it. I'm done apologizing for surviving.